Mr. Mark Silverman, we are live.
Wow, this is fun.
It is fun. It is fun. I'm not one of those people that likes to just all of a sudden go into show mode. I would rather just kind of keep the flow of where we were just before we came on. Great to have you here on the show, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk.
Really great to have you here. So I have Mark's beautiful intro, which I want to read because I feel it's appropriate to give context to those people that are scrolling through the white noise of Facebook, and they for some reason decided these two look interesting. I thought I'll give them some context as to what this show is about, and also why Mark is here. So Mark has generated over, is that $90 million?
Yes.
I'm terrible with zeros. I'm really bad with zeros. In sales for fast-growing tech startups. He's achieved this by bringing together teams of executives and technical leaders to close complex multi-million-dollar sales. He's experienced firsthand the pressure of the hustle and grind culture, along with the unique challenges of the C-suite. This experience, together with his years of training as a coach and facilitator, helps his clients create sustainable and lasting success in all areas of their lives. Mark is the author of Only Tens 2.0, Confront Your To-Do List, Transform Your Life, and the host of the Mastering Midlife podcast.
Yeah, that sums me up. 2 dogs, 2 sons.
I had that was definitely some stuff that I got there as well. Where should we start?
We should start with what do you want people to walk away from this conversation with?
Well, I think the reason, for those of you that are watching, the reason why Mark is here and the reason why I wanted to get Mark on is Mark is somebody who I perceive to be everything right with men today. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. I've done videos on this platform before, and I've talked about I believe that in society today there is a lot. We were just saying offline, there's a lot of noise about what I call Western masculine, which is, and that, to clarify, is for men and women, which is very much about this Facebook ad, this business growth, this mastermind thing will help you achieve all your wildest dreams. And we know that Western masculine energy is a really important part, because without it, they'll come and take your house, right? But it's only one part of us. The other part of us I call the Eastern feminine, which is very much about being in the flow, being now, being before doing, and recognizing that, as cliche as it sounds, happiness really is an inside job. And I feel and know, actually, because I've had first-hand experience of it, that Mark is very good at not only coaching people from the inside out, but he's what I perceive to be someone who's really good at being really emotionally aware of the importance of applying both Western masculine and Eastern feminine to his life.
Thanks. And that's actually by necessity, because given the people that I coach, people in the glass buildings and the executive suite, they don't want to hear about the Eastern feminine.
No.
So I actually have to use the language that people can hear. And I think I'm good at it because I kind of shy away from that also. If I walked into a boardroom and did a workshop and I said, now let's all get in touch with our intuition, I'd get thrown out. But in the course of the conversation, if I can say, so what does your gut have to say? And they're like, I think this. And I'm like, no, I know what you think, but let's take a minute, take a deep breath. Let's, what are you feeling about this? What's your gut say? And then we start to have those kinds of conversations, so we can shift it without having to let them know what's happening.
Yeah, I love that. I made some notes because there were some key things. I was watching some of your videos over the past few days, and there's some key things that I thought would be really good for us to talk about. First thing is the title of the book, Only Tens. Like, where did that come from? What does that mean?
So for me, that came from, people know Derek Sivers. He's an author. He's like that the whole hell yes, hell yeah, hell no kind of thing. It's, you're all in or you're all out. And I was having a conversation with, our mutual friend, and mentor, Rich Litvin.
Yeah.
And, you know, he basically said, Mark, if it's a 10 for you, you'll do it. And if it's not a 10, you're not going to do it. Cause I was complaining to him about not being able to get stuff done. And so we came up with this nomenclature of, if it's a 10, it's a hell yes. If it's a 9 or less, it's a hell no. And out of that conversation, being a consummate people pleaser, being a guy with ADD, being just really really successful, but kind of successful by not getting a lot of traction, so working 3 times as hard as I need to.
Yeah. Right.
I decided I was only going to pay attention to what I wanted to do, what was important to me, what really, really, really needed to get done. And everything else was going to get thrown off my plate, which was panic inducing for someone like me who wants to be all things to all people all the time, and who is competent enough, energetic enough, and earnest enough to be all things to all people at all times. So when something drops through the cracks, it's actually an anomaly. People can count on Mark. And when I started to do that, what I realized was that everything I did had what I called a qualifier. So I was usually doing something for a reason. And the reason usually is I didn't want to make this person mad. I didn't want to disappoint that person. I wanted to look good by doing this. I didn't want to look like I couldn't handle it all, and all of that stuff. I couldn't delegate it because, they're too busy. So everything had this little qualifier on it. So that's why, it's called Confront Your To-Do List, Transform Your Life. Because when I get someone to look at their to-do list and I look at why things are on the to-do list, it's usually a whole bunch of superfluous stuff or personality stuff or fear-based stuff or ego-based stuff, rather than this is something that really needs to get done by me, or really needs to get done by me now. And now, after about a half hour with someone in their to-do list, I can pare that thing down to there's really only 1 or 2 things that need to be done in a day. Absolutely have to be done. You can do all the other things, but there's only 1 or 2 things that really need to be done. So, all those books, The One Thing, right? All the focus books, for me, those books are great, but until I got underneath the hood as to why I couldn't do the one thing, wasn't really useful. So the book for me is a study in my psyche, in why I'm a constant people pleaser, and why I'm, not setting boundaries, not asking for what I want, not creating strong agreements, all that kind of stuff. So now, it's been 5 years. It's sold about 65,000 copies. So now I'm supposedly an expert. So people know me as someone who speaks his mind, asks for what he wants, sets boundaries, creates strong agreements. So that's, you teach what you need to learn.
Amazing. You teach what you need to learn. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it's very challenging, but maybe not, to get across how a person can start to apply the principles of Only Tens without reading the book and being through what you've been through. But what would be the first step to a person that is where you were, kind of accepting the 9s and doing everything because they know that they're competent and they're capable? How do they move from that to truly living from a place of Only Tens?
So on my website, there's a free Only Tens course. You don't even have to read the book. You can watch my videos for free. But for the first thing you do is you write down everything that's on your to-do list, and that's personal and professional. Just write everything on your to-do list that's overwhelming you. And I want you to feel overwhelmed. I love when people are like, oh my God, like everything. And then look at each thing and figure out why you're doing it. Really look at why you're doing it. And if you really are truthful and curious, you'll start to see the people pleasing, I want to look this way. I'm scared to do this. I'm scared not to do this. I can't set that boundary. I'm going to do all the things on the parent teacher association because I want to look good in front of the other parents, even though I don't have time. I'm afraid to set a boundary. Now you need to go look at what difficult conversations do I need to have? This always leads into a conversation of difficult conversations. Do I need to go ask for what I want? Do I need to go ask for help? Do I need to renegotiate an agreement that I had that I can't do something this week? I can do it next week. And that's where you really find out who you are. Right? This is where you transform your life. You find out that everything you do is to avoid all these uncomfortable feelings and uncomfortable conversations. what happens is when you go have these conversations, you become more intimate, you become more authentic, you become more real in your relationships. The people and the uncomfortable truth number, whatever, about being an overwhelm is that when you push back, when you push, the world's going to push back. So there's going to be people in your life who were only there because you were all things to all people, or because you did these things for them or whatever. And they're going to go away. They're going to grumble and they're going to go away. Then there's going to be the people who counted on you all the time. And when you said no, they're going to adjust because they're real relationships. And then there are going to be people who are going to cheer you on and say, I've always wanted you to set a boundary. Like, really good for you.
Yeah. Love that. Amazing. Amazing. Something I saw in one of your videos, which I love this week, about time management is a myth, and that time management, people don't have a time management problem. They have an honesty problem. Tell us more about that. I love that.
Well, it goes back to the whole Steve Chandler busyness equals laziness. So you're busy because you don't it's easier to be busy than to take the time to do, figure out what you really want to do and what really needs to be done. So it's kind of like the badge of honor of being overwhelmed. We're not honest because we're not honest about why things are on our to-do list. We're not honest about why we're doing things, why we're not doing things, and then the conversations that we need to have. So when I can get people to be honest, like, I really don't want to do this. This is a good idea, but I don't really want to do it. That's why you keep procrastinating on it. Tell yourself the truth. When you start telling yourself the truth about stuff starts falling off the to-do list, and the things that are tens, the things that are hell yeses, they're real for you, will make themselves known. How do you know it was a 10? It was you got it done. Like that, and just because you need a tool, just because you need support to get something done, just because you need a hack to get it done, or productivity tools, doesn't mean it wasn't a 10. It means it was a 10 because you actually used the tool to go get it done.
Yeah.
But if you're procrastinating and it's on the should have been done yesterday list, then it probably wasn't a 10. Something was in the way.
Love that. Love that. I really was binge watching your videos this week, by the way.
I noticed you deep like my videos.
Yeah, deep like my videos. There was one about emitting love, which I thought was a beautiful video, and I think there's been some shares from my wall on that. Tell us more about that and your interpretation of really what emitting love means to you.
So it was more about my definition of love and how I go about getting love in my life. I guess I went around. I was all things to all people because that was how I got love. Right. I keep myself attractive so I can get love. I'm really good to people so I can get love. And I was looking at I was actually looking at my dogs and how much I love my dogs. Oh my God, I love my dogs. I love my dogs so much. And what I realize is my dogs don't choose shit for me. My dogs don't do anything except take my food, take my attention, nudge me when I'm trying to work, take me for a walk. My dog. And I realized, I love my dogs. I love being around my dogs because I love this feeling of love. And I remember reading a long time ago is like when you get broken up with someone, you get all freaked out because you think the love was over there in that person. You think that person carried the love. And now that they're gone, the love is gone, until you realize, I had love when I was with them. The love was over here. I loved them. And that I create love. Love is something that happens in here, doesn't happen out there. Now for me, that's every experience in life. Really, I don't believe that we really interact with life all that much. We mostly interact with what we think about life.
Yeah.
Basically we eat the menu, not the food.
Absolutely.
But with love, that was real. That became really clear to me that if I want to feel love, I just need to generate it for myself. So I go find people to love. I watch YouTube videos that break open my heart and make me cry. So I can experience love whenever I want, just by bringing it up in my body, bringing it up in my soul, and then bringing it out into the world.
Amazing. Love that. Love that. Tell us more about, which was it really the title for the show, Mastering Midlife. Tell us more about that as not just a theme and a book title, but just more importantly, what does that mean to you, that term, mastering midlife?
So this goes back to, you know, everything that I'm an expert at. I'm using air quotes here. Everything that is my mastery, is what I bring to the world, is either something I needed to learn or was actually my biggest weakness. Right. So I write a book about time management and energy management and setting boundaries because I was a people pleaser. Right. For mastering midlife, it was because I did it wrong. You know, I did the hustle and grind culture. I burned the candles at both ends. I was very, very successful. But it took a toll on me, and took a toll on my marriage and my family life. And then when I noticed, after I became a coach, I noticed that all my clients and all the people that I talk to, I live in a very affluent area, very affluent. And I noticed, you know, because I'm very much an introvert. So at a party, I'll be in the kitchen washing dishes or hanging out by myself. People come and talk to me. And I have this gift or curse where people tell me what's really going on, right? Behind the vacations, behind the cars, behind the houses, behind everything. They tell me what's really going on. And I realized that person after person after person in these affluent neighborhoods, they've won life, but they have no idea. Right. So they're constantly striving to fill this hole in their lives. And part of it was because what drives us between in our 20s and 30s, the motivations that come from childhood. You know, I was poor, so I'm going to be rich. You know, I was a chubby kid, so I'm really fit now. You know, like those things, they're unsustainable. They're external. So they're not, you know, your intrinsic thing that you're bringing to create to the world. And that starts to show up after you hit some semblance of success. It's like, oh, wait, I now drive a Lexus convertible. That isn't it. I have the 2 kids and the wife. That isn't it. I have the title. That isn't it. What is it? Right. And I know people who have gone through this in their 20s. It's like what was working is no longer working. Something else has to show up. So for me, I crashed and burned. I crashed and burned when I was homeless when I was 27. Then I got sober. Well, my whole shtick is, I was homeless at 27, a millionaire by 33. I was short Jewish Tony Robbins, kind of thing. But then stone cold sober, at the height of my career and all that, my marriage fell apart. All of a sudden, I couldn't sell anything. I had this midlife crisis, stone cold sober, when I thought I had everything going for me. And what I realized was the thing that was driving me to success was also eating me alive at the same time. And then I needed to go to go inside and figure out, what is it? What do I want? Who do I want to be? I'm on a train, but is it the right train? And then what are the consequences of finding out I'm on the wrong train and I want to change trains? What do you do about your marriage? What do you do about your career? What do you do about the bills that you have to pay? Right? I have kids who need to go to college, and I have elderly parents who need to be taken care of. What do I do about this time? Right? So it's how to thrive when the world asks the most of you. This is when we're the most productive, when we've gained the most success, when we're the most competent, but we're getting tired and our motivations are waning. Right? So how do we find new spark? And I just made that an area of study for myself into how to help people clear the wreckage, right? And clear all the stuff the traps that they think they're in, the prison that they think they're in. Now, this is what I have. This is what I really have on my table. Now, what do I want to do with these pieces? So if they're unhappy with their marriage, it's not you throw your marriage away. It's, what kind of a marriage do I want to create here? Right? Now, I have a willing or an unwilling partner that, then, but if you work through it, then you can start to slowly create the life that you want. That's the whole premise of mastering midlife.
Yeah, love that. Love that. You touched on something earlier about being the introvert in the kitchen, and people would come to you with sharing the things that, as I think I've beautifully heard Rich Litvin's coaching question of, what don't you want people to know about you? What would you say is your thing that you're completely comfortable with, but maybe it used to be something that you didn't want people to know about you?
That I don't have it all together. Like I've had enlightenment experiences, and I know the secrets of the universe. and I'm still another schmuck on the bus, you know, just trying to figure out how to make life work. Right. I have a few more instructions than most people because I've dedicated my life to it, but you know, I'm as human as the next, even though I know I'm not human. Right. Like, so that's the thing.
Love that. Love that.
I thought you were going to say, what don't you want people to know about you? And I was going to say, and what I don't want people to know about me is I still eat too much. I don't know how to not eat too much. I eat the right things. I still just eat too much.
I saw a video on your wall the other day about feeding the wolf. You started the day with a maybe not in the best state and then changed it quickly. Tell us about feeding the wolf.
Well, that's the other thing that you don't want people to know about you. You know, I'm a coach. I'm a spiritual guru. I'm, you know, the positive, and I am not a naturally happy person.
Yeah.
I'm kind of grumpy. And you know, I wake up in the morning like, oh God. And even though I get to do what I love all day long, right? I just wake up like, oh. And you know, I woke up that particular morning. I just woke up like just hating myself and hating everybody. I was just in a foul mood. I'm like, oh, this is great. You're a great coach. Wait till you get to your clients. And I get up, and what I do is I, you know, come down, I have my turmeric coffee, I get on my meditation cushion, I do my journaling, I do my thing, I do, you know, my morning routine, no matter what I feel like. Then I go exercise, and then I go upstairs and I go take, you know, I go in the shower, and I get out of the shower and I'm like, oh my God, what a beautiful day. I feel so great. Oh my God, I'm just so full of love. Oh, isn't it amazing, the spontaneous joy and love that comes through my body? It is so amazing. I wish everybody could have this experience of mine. And I just went, didn't I just wake up as a grump ass? Like, oh, that's right. I do eat my own dog food. Like I do get up and do my work. You know, so where I place my attention, where I do my reps is where my strength is going to be. And my reps and strength are being connected to life, being connected to joy and groundedness, because I put all the energy into that. But that's not, you know, I get knocked off really easily. Just have a political conversation with me, and like I have to take a few minutes to get myself out of fear and back into the conversation so that I can listen.
Yeah. Love that. From Hellraiser to Mary Poppins in under 30 minutes.
Always.
You know, I'm at that point in the conversation where I just think we should just kind of freestyle a bit.
Okay.
What else should we talk about?
So, you know, I kind of want to talk about, let's talk about what's topical right now, which is politics, COVID, and the stress that everybody's dealing with. You know, you're over in the UK, and, you know, from the newspapers and the news is right, you know, it's really kind of rough on you guys with this new strain of COVID. And, you know, do we open things up? Because having everything shut down has its own problems, and then opening things up has its own problems. So, you know, and we have the same problems here. Is, you know, how do you deal with overwhelming stress? And for me, you know, when COVID first hit, my husband was freaked out by COVID.
Really?
And was just like, and he's retired, right? And has a pension, and he's freaked out. He, you know, he just didn't know what was going to happen with the world, with the economy, what was going to go on. And for days, he was just really, you know, for about 2 weeks, he was really off.
Wow. And
I was fine. Like, I didn't bother me in the least. Nothing shook me. And I you know, I don't think I was spiritually bypassing or anything like that. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to take life on life's terms as things happen. One of my mantras is, whatever happens to me is the best thing that ever could fucking happen to me ever. So no matter what happens, it is the best thing that ever could have possibly happened.
Yeah, amen.
You know, I just decided that I'm going to be alive and experience whatever COVID is, whether I get it or I don't get it, a loved one gets it, and I'm just going to be here and experience this. And you know, I'm also pretty clear that I'm not so worried about Mark anymore, right? Like I've had the privilege of being separated from my personality, right? My Mark. So I'm pretty, you know, I kind of go through this as life as it's a game for me. It's a game that has consequences on this plane. So I still chop wood, carry water. I still help people. I still brush my teeth, right? I still talk to my children and guide them. but I realized that, you know, there's more to us than this physicalness, this personality.
Yes.
So I have a detachment to a lot of what goes on. And what I try to convey with people now is, with that detachment, what I've learned is that, you know, the practical thing there is to ask some questions of myself. How am I scaring myself? Right? One of the questions I ask myself, you know, if I'm all freaked out, how am I scaring myself? Another question I ask is, what am I making up? What am I making up about the world, about my situation, about what's going on? You know, just because I see things on the news and other people are suffering, and they probably are, right, doesn't mean I'm suffering, right? So I can have compassion, but I don't have to suffer.
Absolutely.
Right. So, you know, what am I making up? How am I scaring myself? You know, what's really true now? Wiggle my fingers, wiggle my toes, take deep breaths, and really get to reality. And in the reality, in the now, 99.910% of the time, except when it comes to my children, right? I'm spiritual and philosophical about everything. And then, you know, you talk about my kids, I'm dad, I'm human. Like, everything's fine. You know, I don't care what happens. Just make sure my kids are okay. Right. So, but basically, you know, getting to reality is the hardest thing to do when you're scared, when you're in fight or flight, to just breathe, slow down, touch my fingers, wiggle my toes, look around. I'm in this room, safe in this room. Everything that's going on in my head are boogeymen and, you know, on the news and happening to other people right now. Or if it's happening to me, what's happening to me right now? Oh, I'm sick. I'm coughing. I'm in the hospital, whatever. Okay, I'm being taken care of, right? Like, just look at the reality of the situation, so that, because we can always deal with reality. We can't deal with what we make up. Like, we can't shadow box the fears that are just completely made up in our heads. But if, you know, most of the time, reality is handleable.
Yes.
Is that a word?
Yeah, it is now. Hashtag handleable.
Whew, I think I just pontificated.
Oh, that's great. Love that, man. Love that. If people want to reach out to you, connect with you beyond this interview, where should they go? Where should they go?
If they go to www.markjsilverman.com, Mark the letter J Silverman.com, everything is there. The Mastering Midlife podcast, my book, all kinds of free videos and stuff like that. It's all there. My new group program, the Mastering Midlife Master Circle, we're just going to be starting in March. It's going to be
exciting. Amazing. Any final words, wisdom for the viewers, Mark?
Yeah. Follow Miles, because you're amazing. Your evolution has been amazing. I've watched you put the work in to be the person to bring this message. You're an incredible man, incredible husband, incredible dad. And I love what you're doing here.
Thank you, brother. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. First guest.
Episode 1, yay!
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
God bless you. Great to see you.